皆さんおはようございます。Thank you for joining me. This is the Japanese Easy News article of the day for January 9th, 2026, 2026年1月9日の今日の記事でございます。So for our headline today, we have 宇宙飛行士、体の具合が悪くなって地球に帰ることが決まった。Okay, here is our vocabulary list from the headline. We have 宇宙飛行士, which is an astronaut. 体 is a body, normally of a living thing, but it can refer to other types of bodies. But here I think we're talking about the human body, so 体. We have 具合. So 具合 is an interesting word. It can mean a few different things. It can mean like condition or status.It's often used when talking about someone's health. So when we attach something like いい, good, or 悪い, bad, it can mean if someone's in good health or in bad health. So 具合がいい, 具合が悪い would be healthy or unhealthy. And we have 地球, which is the earth. 帰る, which is to return, normally to home or where you belong.And then 決まる is for something to be decided or to be determined. Okay, so here is our grammar point from the article today. We have こと. So こと literally means a thing or things, and it can be used in all sorts of grammars, but the one we're going to be focusing on today is its use as a word that turns a non-noun into a noun. So sometimes in Japanese grammar,we have a verb or an adjective or something else that just doesn't connect with other things in the sentence unless it gets turned into a noun, and こと can do that for us. So here I think all of our examples are verbs turning into nouns using こと, and that's probably the most common that you'll see, but as we go through these examples it'll kind of make sense how this works. So if we were to break down this first sentence, we're just saying,This is this. So this noun is this noun. So basically the most basic Japanese sentence you can learn. これはこれです. This is this, right? So we have 寝る前に. So 寝る to sleep, 前に previous to. So 寝る前に before sleeping or previous to sleeping. お風呂に入る. So お風呂に入るis to enter the bath, お風呂 the bath, 入る to enter, to get in, and then こと. So こと, we are taking this whole thing and turning it into a noun. So this is now just a noun that's really big. So the thing of entering the bath before you sleep. が日本の習慣だ. So 日本, Japan, 習慣 custom. And then that no is saying it's Japan's custom or a custom of Japan. So once again, very simple sentence. This thing, this koto here, is this thing. But in Japan, you can't just have a verb attached to a ga for that verb to take the place of a noun. So we use koto here in order to make this a noun, and then that works perfectly in this sentence.Yeah, so it is a Japanese custom to take a bath before bed. Okay, and we have this next one. 昔、人間は飛ぶことができない動物だと思われていた. So I guess this is probably from something like a book about airplanes, where now we can because we have airplanes. But we have 昔, so 昔, a long time ago. 人間は, so humans.飛ぶことができない. So 飛ぶ is to fly, and then こと, and then こと, we're taking that 飛ぶ, which is flying, and turning it into a noun. And why are we turning it into a noun? So that we can attach ができない. So できない is impossible to do or cannot do. So 飛ぶことができない. Cannot do the thing of flying.And then all of this is modifying our noun here, 動物. So, 動物, 人間は動物. A person is an animal. People are animals. that cannot fly, that are incapable of the flying thing. Literally what's going on here with the koto there. They are incapable of doing the flying thing. And then da, that's the is, so humans are animals that cannot fly. And then da to omowarete ita. So da to omo would be to think that humans are these animals that cannot fly. And then this is in the passive, omowareru. So it was thought, and then we also have that in the past tense. So it was thought that humans were animals that could not fly. Now in English, we kind of dropped the animals because that sounds a little better in English. It was thought that humans could not fly. But once again, yeah, so just focus on that koto. We can't attach a verb to dekinai, to be unable to do something. So we use koto to say cannot do the thing of flying. Okay, and then for our last example here, I'm going to move myself just a little bit. Okay, so then we have 本当に痩せるなら毎日努力することが必要です。Okay, so 本当に, so this is how we say really, and then we have a verb after it, so really 痩せる. So 痩せる is to lose weight. And then nara is an if. So if you're really going to lose weight, 毎日, every day, 努力する. So 努力する is to put effort into something, work hard at something. And then 努力することが必要です. So 必要です is how we say something is required, is necessary. So because we have that is there, we have to have a noun. Something is something. A noun is required. So we can't just say 努力するが必要です. In Japanese, we need to turn that into a noun with koto. So it is required that, or the thing of working hard every day is required. 毎日努力する必要が, sorry, 毎日努力することが必要です. So we can see in all of these sentences, we cannot make these sentences without koto. So if we want to verb another verb, we have to use koto. Okay, let's return back to our headline here with our new vocab and grammar under our belt. See if we can figure out what this means. So we have 宇宙飛行士、体の具合が悪くなって地球に帰ることが決まった. Give you a couple seconds to look over that. You can also feel free to pause. Okay, so we've got 宇宙飛行士, so an astronaut, and that's our main headline, and then we're going to kind of break that down further in our next little section. So 体の具合, so once again, 体 is our body, and 具合 is the state, particularly when we're talking about our body, the health. So the health of their body, or their current health, が悪くなって. So 悪くなる in the te form, that's what this is. And we have the adjective 悪い connected to くなる, so something is becoming bad or poor. So 具合が悪くなる would be to become unhealthy or to be in a bad shape. Maybe a good translation there. And then we have 地球に帰る. So 地球 is the earth, ni is our direction particle connected to 帰る here, because we have to go towards a place if we're returning, going home. And then こと, so we have that grammar こと here, ことが決まった. So 決まる is for something to be decided. And once again, we cannot use a verb right directly onto another verb, so we use this koto to say the thing of all of this happening was determined. And what was that thing? So just to say the whole headline, you have an astronaut became unhealthy or got into bad shape, and it was determined that he or she had to return to the earth. Okay, here is our vocabulary from the article. we have 国際宇宙ステーション which is the International Space Station, 予定 which is a plan, 名前 which is name, 発表する or 発表. So 発表 without the する is like an announcement. 発表する is the verb to announce. 実験 is experiments. And 初めて is for the first time.
国際宇宙ステーションにいる宇宙飛行士の一人が体の具合が悪くなりました。このため4人の宇宙飛行士が予定より早く地球に帰ることが決まりました。去年8月から国際宇宙ステーションにいて、来月帰る予定でした。4人の中には日本人の由井公也さんがいます。NASA は具合が悪くなった人の名前を発表していません。JAXA は由井さんではないと言っています。国際宇宙ステーションでは25年前から宇宙飛行士がいろいろな実験をしています。体の具合が悪くなったため、予定より早く帰るのは初めてです。
Okay, let's get right into our article.
国際宇宙ステーションにいる宇宙飛行士の一人が体の具合が悪くなりました。
Okay, so 国際宇宙ステーション is their International Space Station. にいる so いる is to exist as a living things or to be in a certain place. So something is in the International Space Station. 宇宙飛行士 astronaut の一人 so one of the astronaut, we have our counter here for people with 一人 one person が it's going to do something 体の具合が悪くなりました so as we saw previously 体の具合 is the state of your body or your health and then 悪くなりました悪い going to 悪くなる changed in the negative way, changed to be bad. So one of the astronauts that was in the International Space Station became unhealthy. Their 具合が悪くなりました。
このため4人の宇宙飛行士が予定より早く地球に帰ることが決まりました。
Okay, このため is a way to say therefore or due to this. 4人の宇宙飛行士が so 4人 would be 4 people の宇宙飛行士 use this no to connect to 宇宙飛行士 astronauts が they're going to do something 予定より so 予定 is plan or plans より means more than the plans and then that is connected to 早く so earlier than planned would be 予定より早く and then 地球に帰る so 地球 Earth に帰る we are returning to the Earth and then we have こと so as we've seen in the title ことが決まりました means it was determined that and this こと is describing all of this all the way up to the 4人 so because of this, it was determined that 4 astronauts will be returning home to Earth quicker than originally planned.
去年8月から国際宇宙ステーションにいて、来月帰る予定でした。
Okay, so 去年8月から So 去年 last year, 8月 being August and から being from. So from August of last year, 国際宇宙ステーションにいて. So this is にいる again in the te form here. So these 4 astronauts had been or were existing in the International Space Station since August of last year. And then the te form tells us there's more coming. 来月帰る予定でした. So 予定 is plans, and this is the plans right here. So 来月帰る予定 would be plans, or they had plans to return back home next month. So they had been there since August of last year, and there were plans to return home next month.
4人の中には日本人の由井公也さんがいます。
Okay. 4人の中には So 4人 the 4 people 中 within this group of 4 people, and this には is giving us that within there. So in this group of 4 people, 日本人の由井公也さんがいます。So 日本人の describing this Yui Kimiya-san, so who is a Nihonjin or Japanese. So a Japanese person, Yui Kimiya-san ga imasu. So ga, they're doing something, and imasu, existing. So within these 4 people, there was Yui Kimiya-san, who was a Japanese person.
NASA は具合が悪くなった人の名前を発表していません。
Okay, so NASA は NASA is our main topic here. And what are we talking about, NASA? 具合が悪くなった人. So 具合が悪くなった人. Describing what kind of person we have here. 具合が悪い would be someone who's unhealthy. Kunaru here, so the person who became unhealthy. 人の名前, so that person's name, that note tells us there's possession. 名前を発表していません. So 発表する, to announce. They have not announced. We're in that state of not having announced. So 発表していません. We use the teiru form here, the negative teiru form. So NASA has not announced the name of the person who got sick.
JAXA は由井さんではないと言っています。
And then we have JAXA は So JAXA is the Japan Astronomical Exploration Association. Not astronomical. I don't know. I forget what it's called. Basically, the Japanese NASA, right? So, astronomical's got to be wrong, but I don't think it's aeronautical either. But anyways, so it's basically the Japanese version of NASA, right? And so they are our main topic here. And so what about them? Yui-san de wa nai to itte imasu. So they are saying that, this tells us that there's a quote kind of here. Yui-san de wa nai. So de wa nai is the same as janai. So it is not Yui-san, the Japanese person. And what are we talking about here? From the previous sentence, the person who got sick or became unhealthy is not Yui. That's what the JAXA is saying.
国際宇宙ステーションでは25年前から宇宙飛行士がいろいろな実験をしています。
国際宇宙ステーションでは So 国際宇宙ステーション The International Space Station では In the International Space Station or on the International Space Station. Alright, so 25年前から So 25年 is 25 years. 前 is previous. So 25 years ago. 25年前. And then から tells us starting or from 25 years ago. 宇宙飛行士が astronauts are, this guy is telling us they're doing something. いろいろな実験をしています。So いろいろな is various connected to our noun 実験 which is experiments. And then しています are doing or have been doing. So starting 25 years ago on the International Space Station, astronauts have been performing experiments.
体の具合が悪くなったため、予定より早く帰るのは初めてです。
Okay, so 体の具合が悪くなった。Once again, don't need to explain this. So someone's body is becoming unhealthy, right? 具合が悪くなる. So someone is becoming unhealthy. This is in the past tense connected to ため. So ためcan be because or due to. So here we can kind of think of it as a due to. So due to someone becoming unhealthy or sick or injured, that kind of stuff. 予定より早く帰るのは. So 予定より早く, once again, earlier than planned. 予定 plan より than 早く earlier. And then 帰る. So 予定より早く帰る be going home earlier than planned. のは初めてです. So I briefly mentioned this in the grammar, but no is another way we can turn a verb into a noun. So the thing of someone going home early due to becoming sick or unwell は, that's our topic, 初めて. So 初めて is the first time. So if we put this into English order, we would say this has been the first time that someone has had to go home early due to becoming sick or unwell. And yeah, 初めてです. So it is the first time that someone has had to go home early due to becoming unwell or sick. So thank you so much for being here for the article today. That puts us at the end of this week for our weekdays. So I will plan on seeing you next week on Monday. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already so you're notified when we upload these daily weekday videos. And there is plenty of other content on the way for this channel, so please stick around. I hope to see you next week. また来週.